My mic went out. I'm going to change. Some likes pop into this chat. All right. So it looks like I've got one viewer. Who is that? Drop me a message. Okay, cool. What questions do you have for me? It's looking kind of bare tonight. The most useful tool I know of. That would either be the spinning technique or the magic frame. Specifically because of how simple it is to use, and you can teach it to any client that you want. And it works almost intuitively. Oh, this? I think it's about a year now, year and a half. If you look at my videos, you'll actually see it getting longer. I've actually been debating if I should trim it back, so I might do a poll for that later. The magic frame method. So the magic frame, in fact, I can just guide you guys through that right now. What you want to do is you want to pick a feeling or an event in your life that you can't seem to clear. Like say you've been using spinning and it keeps coming back. Then you employ the magic frame. And you're going to do the same thing you would do with spinning. You know, you close your eyes, point to where you feel it. Then in the space around you, you'll notice that there's a frame that represents the feeling that you're trying to clear. Reach out and touch that as well. Then you're going to reach out with both your hands and you're going to trace the edges of it and put a big black frame around it. So you know how big that image is. And feel under the bottom of that frame. And you'll notice that there's a knobs and switches down there. Find the one that controls the brightness and either turn it all the way black or all the way white. Decide which one feels better for you. And once you have that, take the index finger of your dominant hand, and in big golden letters, I want you to write down all the things that you've learned about that experience. And you can keep writing for as long as you have to because you have infinite scroll. Just keep going until you know you've got all the information, all the lessons, all the feelings and the emotions written out on that big frame. And once you get to the end of that, you want to grab it with both your hands, shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp or smaller, and throw it over your shoulder. Let it go all the way back to the end of the universe until you feel it hit something. Once you feel it hit something, summon a huge hammer into your hand and just nail it back there until you know it cannot possibly come back. And when you know it can't possibly come back, try to bring it back and notice what happens instead. And when you're done, open your eyes and go about your day. Now notice how different you feel. Was that a good walkthrough for you? By the way, thanks to whoever put that like. It helps me with the algorithm. It's awesome. Yeah. How do you feel about that? How did it make you feel? By the way, Blackwood, I apologize if I'm probably going to butcher your first name. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Oh, that's great, Lighter. Yeah, I sort of feel that relief. Yeah, I use Magic Frame pretty often, almost daily when I'm clearing my stuff. I'll probably end up putting a video out for that soon. By the way, I'm also taking suggestions on here for this stream. So if you got ideas or things you want me to talk about. No, so the Magic Frame and the IMAX are very similar. What I call the IMAX is actually what, if you watch David Snyder stuff, he calls it the frame game. Basically, what you're doing with the frame is you're moving it around. You can move it closer to you, move it farther away, behind you. You're just moving it different places spatially. You can also expand it to make it bigger or smaller and kind of see how you feel as you're moving the frame around. In the frame, of course, it represents an emotion or an experience that you want to feel more or less of. And what you'll find when you're messing with the frame is some people feel it stronger when it's closer, or they have the opposite effect. And it's the same when you grow or shrink it. So when you're shrinking it, if it feels stronger, then we call those people condensers, and the opposite we call expanders. Either one is correct. It just has to do with how your neurology is set up. Great questions, guys. By the way, thanks again for the likes. We've got 3 now. Image cycling. I can go on for hours about how that works. Basically, I consider it to be one of the most powerful manifestation tools you can use. It was developed by a guy that goes by the name of Bill Bankston, and he was using it as a form of energy healing. And it's, as far as I know, the only energy healing method that actually has studies that were performed with under a scientific condition. I believe they were done at Yale. There may have been one at Oxford. And basically, he was performing this energy technique on mice that had been injected with cancer cells and curing the mice. And this is actually documented. And it actually reached a point that was even more insane. They were injecting. They discovered that they could not re-inject the mice with cancer. And if they injected blood into the other mice and then tried to give them cancer, they were unable to do so. While he was doing this, he created a mental exercise where he would cycle images of things that he wanted in his mind. And he discovered that the things he was trying to manifest were manifesting very quickly and very powerfully. Now, when you use that technique, your manifestations are not very gentle. They're very sudden. So I would say use with caution. But to use the Bankston method, what you want to do is you want to write down a list of 10 or 15 things that you want. And then you want to, in a meditative state, create an image or representation of each of those items. And you want to, when you create those images, which you would use the frame game that I talked about earlier, also known as IMAX. And you want to create these frames and create the strongest possible positive emotion you can when you're building these frames. And after you have one for each of these items, the cycling method is to sit down and meditate and cycle the images in your mind. And the speed and order are irrelevant as long as you can sit there and cycle them. And as you get to a higher level, you'll start going so fast you can't see the images. And that's okay. You don't actually have to fully identify it as long as your subconscious is moving the images quick enough. Well, that's okay, Blackwood. I actually, when I teach this in classes, I usually start with 3 to 5, just to get the idea down. If you can do 5, I would do that. Just do what you can and what feels right. Because a lot of this has to do with making sure what you're doing is fun and you're having an enjoyable experience. So you want to avoid ritual as well. You don't want to just sit down and do your cycling at a certain time just because you do it at that time every day. You want to do it when it feels fun and when you feel, like you're going to get a benefit out of it. It's a very emotionally driven principle that comes with that manifestation. And you don't have a lot of the same issues that you would have where you are always trying to maintain positive thoughts and you have this fear you're going to manifest something evil because you had a bad thought, because you're cycling those images. And each time you switch to the next image, you're practicing that principle of thinking and letting go. So you're accepting the good feelings and you're bringing it up into your mind and you let it go to the next thing. So the whole idea of you set it and forget it for the manifestation to work is at play every time you cycle the image. So there's a lot of compounding principles that take place in that one simple technique that you're using. That's actually a good point. Where I would start is, what do you want to buy with the money? If you have a list of things you want to buy with the money, break it down into those items. Because you want to have an objective end result too with each of these images, so you want to cross them off the list when you get them. So if you could say, for example, I want $1 million, and you can objectively know that you have $1 million and cross it off the list, that would work too. But it would be more powerful to just manifest the things you want to buy with the money. That's sort of the issue when it comes to manifesting money and law of attraction, is, generally what we have is a desire to get somewhere or get something with the money. And what you'll find as you're manifesting is oftentimes you can bypass the financial aspect of something and end up with it somehow. I've had that happen to me a number of times where I've had really expensive things and experiences just sort of come to me, and I was just trying to find the cash to pay for it. If you're looking for something like financial stability, I would still look at the individual things that would represent that to you and make a list off of that. Does that answer your question at all? That's a good question. Um, I guess the highlights are I got a lot of really great hypnosis trainings out of it, where, because that's my passion. But I had a lot of events line up that just allowed me to sort of further my education that way. Um, I've had a lot of situations. For me, it's mostly experiences. Um, I've had a couple of really good opportunities. I just manifested a book deal this year. Um, well, partial book deal. I contributed to a big author in the magic community. Um, when I feel like I'm manifesting my way towards having this channel be a success. Um, my business has grown significantly over the past year while I've been using image cycling. But trying to put a number to the money is what makes it harder to work with. And I think that's kind of what you're starting to find. One of the best things I manifested was getting to meet sort of one of my heroes in the personal development base, and I got to meet David Snyder, and I've been able to go to his classes and hang out with him. So it works with meeting celebrities too. My suggestion would be creating an image of either in the image you're already past the point where you met him and you're doing something casual like having dinner or something. um, just create what you think what that image would look like to you. um, don't focus too much on the how, focus more on the what. Like, would you want to go and have a beer with this person? Would you want to hang out and have dinner? Or you want to just do an interview? That kind of stuff. Just sort of create this scenario in your mind of what that image would look like. You also want to create an individual image for each person. Also, while I have a minute, I want to give a shout out to one group who's been in the chat. Um, he's got a really great channel. He's done some really cool stuff. Not really related to hypnosis, but um, me and him have done podcasts and we've worked together in the past. So go and check his stuff out if you get a chance. I think it's a mix. I think that you drive things into your subconscious and you have a tendency to, on some unconscious level, end up manifesting certain things. Um, I think it's a combination of creating the behaviors of being the person that gets the thing. And if you have a more spiritual view of it, you're also sort of placing yourself in harmony with the thing that you're trying to manifest. Because in order to manifest most things, you have to make yourself in harmony or become the person that can have that thing. And you'll notice, there's a certain mentality that comes with a lot of entrepreneurs. People talk about the wealth mindset. There's a lot of people out there that they live that sort of lifestyle, and to them, they're successful even when they have products and things completely crash. And somehow they're always climbing back up to the top, and they have ways of finding $1 million. Like it's just laying around. I think that's sort of how image cycling works, where if you're trying to get a certain job or experience, as you continue to cycle, your behaviors are going to change whether you're conscious of it or not. And I think that plays a big role in it. What was it like being with David Snyder? Well, he's a very entertaining guy to train with. He's almost like, the way he moves around a lecture room is almost like a cartoon character sometimes. So he's got a very good sense of humor in person. He's very efficient. When you go to his live classes, you're learning a lot of functionality over fluff. As far as him as a person, I'd say he's a very nice guy, but he can still hold his own. If people, if you try to start shit in his classes, he's not going to put up with it. But it's a very easygoing sort of group to be in. I train with him over Zoom just about every month and get updates and stuff, and he seems to have a real heart for his students and want to make sure that you succeed and get what you came for whenever you train with him. And that's why I use a lot of his stuff on my channel, which, speaking of that, a lot of people feel like I'm copying and pasting and taking his stuff. I know him personally, and I've gotten his permission to use a lot of the stuff that I talk about on my channel. So he knows I'm doing it. I'm not just stealing his stuff and putting it up there. I've got his name on my certificate, and he authorizes me to talk about it. Which, honestly, I think he'd be okay with just about anybody, as long as you give him credit for the technique that you're teaching. Which is what I try to do as much as possible. I know I've forgotten a couple times, and I apologize for that. I know the feeling. It gets really expensive. Yeah. Um, I'm just curious. You a longtime viewer of David's stuff? 2 years. Okay. How'd you end up finding him? YouTube. Yeah. That was kind of what happened to me. I found him. I was in a pretty dark place, um, but for some reason, because I had studied hypnosis for about 10 years, I started when I was about 11. So I was 21, and I found him when I was looking for NLP lectures, and he just kind of blew me away. And I've been following him literally ever since the first lecture I saw. Um, and in my opinion, um, especially if you're starting out in NLP or hypnosis, he's the best guy to go to. Um, I feel like a lot of trainers aren't able to make things as simple and user friendly as he does. Um, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of other great teachers out there, but I feel like a lot of times you almost want to have a base knowledge before you go into them. But David, um, if you go to um, his basic hypnotherapy class, you come out of there functional and ready to hypnotize people. Pretty much guaranteed. And I like to rep his classes because I haven't started teaching and certifying yet, so I want to toss some up to the guy that taught me. Well, I work on an identity level. Um, my philosophy is that, if you go through my coaching program, you're going to change on an identity level. And that's going to change your emotions and your actions. And that's going to help you do better in your personal life and your career. Um, mentally healthy people tend to be wealthier, so if you're just in it for money, you know, that will help. But what I focus on is the internal, the emotional and the identity level to get you to a point where you can start realizing your dreams better. So I think everybody comes to me with some sort of dream or something that they want out of their life. And the question I always ask is, are you the person that thing can happen to? And that's sort of my goal with every client that comes to me. Looks like I got another like. Thank you. That's the simple cause and effect of it. Um, if you change your identity, you'll change the way you feel about yourself. And when you change the way you feel about yourself, you're going to change your behaviors. and your behaviors, and your actions are going to translate into the other aspects of your life, because everything that you're doing is building a future, you know. And a very simple way to break down manifesting is, even if you don't know law of attraction, or any of those techniques, your actions are still manifesting a future for you, whether you like it or not. It's simple cause and effect. Law of attraction gives you an edge, but as far as the most powerful ways to start changing the trajectory of your life, it's going to come down to the actions that you're performing. In terms of services, well, I offer the mainline hypnotherapy, so I can do things like smoking cessation and weight loss. Um, I do a lot of mostly trauma resolution. I also offer coaching on several different subjects, everything from, success coaching to charisma. I don't do a lot of sales, but a lot of it has to do with charisma and doing better with your career and motivation, that kind of thing. As far as hypnosis goes, I literally go as far as changing a person's personal identity. Um, I offer a number of different NLP treatments. The spinning technique is a good example of that. So really what I do is I break down sort of what your needs are, and I create a custom treatment plan for you so that you can, have the best chance of success. I don't do the cookie cutter thing. Well, if you're looking to get started, I would go to my website, ratatransformations.com. There I have a list of services. I've got some testimonials on there. That talks about what I do. If you want to book a call with me today, you would want to go to my Facebook page, which would be facebook.com/ratatransformations. That's where a lot of my clients contact me. If you're one of those weirdos that doesn't have a Facebook, you can go to my email, which is ratahypnosis@yahoo.com. Sounds good. Um, Keep in mind, I also offer group rates, so I'm hoping to get some group Zoom sessions going here pretty soon for corporate gatherings and that sort of thing. Couples counseling? You might want to go to a therapist for that. I don't do like a couples hypnotherapy. I do some coaching, some relationship coaching. Um, but that gets a little bit complicated when you're working with both people, unless you're doing like a couples hypnosis situation. Um, but as far as like a couples counseling situation, you kind of want to create an environment where both parties can talk to each other. I think that that's a good form of therapy, and you almost want to work out the issues of the two individuals separately. It's not always best to do that with both of them in the same room and try to treat both of them at the same time. But we do have Valentine's Day coming up. Maybe I should throw some 2-for-1s out there. A lot of a lot of corporate work groups. I could do families. Basically the idea is you bring me in on a Zoom call, and I just do the group, run you through a meditation or some sort of hypnosis exercise. Um, that kind of thing. I don't necessarily do a lot of groups anymore, but that's something that I would love to get back into. You guys are keeping the chat pretty lively tonight. I like that. Keep in mind that those of you that have been coming in and out, this is a completely open forum, so throw your questions up as you like. Another cool milestone actually tonight. This is going to be the 30th video on my channel. Yes, it is on my YouTube channel. If you go and look at my information, it's also usually in the description of all my videos. So you click on just any random video, it should show up. Early videos have rateofmindfulness.com, and that was the old brand. So I don't believe that site is active anymore. And if you do find something, I don't monitor that website anymore. Well, I guess, you know, thanks for the congratulations. Thanks for subbing. Um, my tip for if you're just getting started looking for a coach, stick with what you can afford. I know coaches that charge huge amounts. find a program that you want to stick with and find a coach that you really vibe with, because that's what's going to help you be successful, is having a good coaching relationship. When it comes to long-term coaching, you really got to have a guy or person that you trust and that wants to take that journey with you. If you're just getting started, something I always looked at, because I've had a few coaches over the years, is I've looked at some of the media they put out. Do I agree with what they're doing? Do I like their vibe? And I've had a number of really great experiences with the coaches that I've had. And I think a lot of that was what helped me stay in coaching, was I just found people that I meshed well with. A lot of them I actually found here on YouTube. But that's what I recommend, is start looking into that. If they have a YouTube channel or some other media channel and they're putting out tips and they're talking about mindsets and philosophies, start testing those out for you. And if you really want to move forward with that coach, go ahead and contact them and get a consultation and see if they want to work with you. Because there's more coaches on the market now than I think I've ever personally seen. The last couple of years, it seems like that market's almost sort of been flooded, And if make sure you feel like that coach is looking out for your best interest. If you feel like the coach is being kind of scammy with you, they're asking too much money, or they're making crazy promises, like they're going to increase your wealth 100-fold or something like that, always be skeptical. Look at their accomplishments and look what their motives are. I try to be as transparent as possible. What I'm doing is helping you have a better mindset and feel better emotionally. And I don't make a lot of promises as far as wealth goes, because wealth tends to, that's the trigger, that's the hook. But I can't guarantee always financial success, but I can guarantee you're going to feel better and you're going to live a happier life if you follow the principles that I teach. Because it worked for me, So that's always what I'm sharing, is principles and things that have worked for me personally. I'm not someone that's going to talk about and give advice to people to have, for them to do things that, usually if it hasn't worked for me personally, I don't share it, unless I have seen it be a great benefit to other coaches and other entrepreneurs and people that I've been around. And if I see that they're getting a lot of benefit out of it, then I'll go ahead and recommend it, or I'll recommend a client to that coach if I feel that coach is going to benefit them better, based on their motivations and the things that they're trying to achieve. looks like we've hit an hour. Do we have any more questions? So I'll stay on as long as you guys keep filling me questions. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Again, shout out to One Group. He's got a lot of great stuff on his channel. Tell you what, I'll probably hop off here in about 5 minutes, unless you guys, really want to keep this thing going. I know a lot of you people probably have work tomorrow, and you don't want to stay out too late. Also, if you guys want to make this sort of a weekly thing, I'm open to doing that too. And I can throw a poll up and see if you guys have a time that works really well for you guys during the week. Maybe make this like a weekly thing. And if you guys can continue growing my channel and getting it bigger, I'm going to start bringing bigger and better content and streams for you guys to watch. Give you guys some really good content. Because I've got some plans, a few surprises up my sleeve. I think you guys are going to like. Just based on the kind of comments I've been getting lately. I'm also intending on a new release schedule. From now on, uploads are probably only going to be once a week, just because I have a lot going on with the coaching business. Right now, I'm consulting with another. It's kind of a double negative. I'm consulting with another consulting company, helping them build their stuff up. So it's like, and I've also got a day job, so it's one, and then I have 2 half jobs, and I've got this channel which I am fully intending to bring you guys the best stuff that I can over the next year. And I'm very happy that just over a year you guys doubled my subscriber count, and that's my gratitude to you guys for helping me move this stuff up. The algorithm's been really kind to me the past couple months. I've had what looks like some very enthusiastic subscribers that have hopped on and started giving me ideas for content. And I'm really looking forward to see what this channel does, for the rest of this year. I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff that's going to come out of it. And continue commenting and liking and letting me know what you want, because the responses I get sort of guide the content that I put out there, because I feel like, my audience that is actively watching and subscribing, you guys sort of take priority. And when I get a feel for what my viewers are wanting, I feel like I'm doing a better job with my content. And I feel like I'll bring in more people like you that really want to see my stuff. And that's sort of my motivation at this point. It was part of the motivation of the live stream, was to see what kind of stuff you want to know about. So thanks for hopping on. Thanks for showing your support in the live stream. You got me to 200 subs, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of the rest of this year. But I think I'm going to close out, and I will see you guys later in the next video. I guess I'll talk to everybody later.